Hi all. So today's video we will discuss about the what is Azure Databricks. I think most of the people maybe know about the Azure Databricks, but some of them is a new familiar, new keyword like Databricks. I will explain you how the Databricks is important today's life in our Azure data engineering journey. Why we need to learn Databricks by Spark when you write the code. Okay. So the basically I will give you some kind of overview. Databricks means what? Okay. So you already know if you are coming from the data engineering background or if you don't have the data engineering background, I will tell you the Spark is the one of the optimized solution in the concept in big data. Okay. That means we need to load and we need to transform a lot of data with the help of a system. So that is called Spark before. Okay. Once it was really helpful in the because before that it was used for HDFS, other concept and used for big data means doing more million and million data we need to handle. But there are limitations. To overcome the limitation, it was we need a optimized fast processing engine. So that is called as a Spark. When implemented the Spark, we need to know the Scala language more. Okay, Scala or Java is needed in the writing the code in the Spark. But when we come into the Azure cloud concept, the Spark was at the time was free. It was an open source. The developers of the Spark was trying to implement whatever the technology available in the Spark to cloud with the Azure or without or any cloud technology. So they founded a new thing called Databricks. Okay, why the Databricks is like that? I will tell you. Databricks has the all capabilities of the Spark plus additional integration with the cloud also, the Azure or AWS, Google and all. So that is the reason Azure Databricks comes into the picture. Then you have to think about one more question: why we are calling like Azure Databricks? Okay, so I will tell you. The Databricks is provided because Azure or Microsoft is a third-party kind of agreement with them because they can more compatibility with the existing service, cloud service, compatible. We can migrate, we can use these kind of, and with the help of within the Azure subscription also, we will get the amount, whatever the amount additionally we need to charge in the when you using the Databricks service that also available. So that is the reason it is more compatible compared to other. Previously it was compatible to AWS, but I think 2022 or something Google released or Google also announced database platform also compatible with this cloud also, Google Cloud. So that means every cloud it will be possible. So the summary will be the Spark in cloud is called a Databricks. Then comes into the picture why the Databricks. We need to, I already mentioned, we need to move, we need to perform lot of action, lot of item with the help of different. For example, we can give the security, we can give the separate notebook for running our purpose. And we can store with that because Git also we can use to save our data and all Azure DevOps kind of concept. Everything will be available we can use in the database. So that is the reason it is very popular. Clear? Yes. So I will give you some kind of overview. uh, Before that I will give you some I will share my screen, then we can check what are the things available and all. Give me 1 minute. Okay, so I will see you. So this is our the Databricks. I will share this PPT with you. This is kind of boot camp. So you will get what are the concepts, what are the concepts you need to focus if you want to complete transition like world class data engineer, Azure data engineer, because Azure class huge demand. Trust me. If you studied everything, if you do practically everything, you will get better job. And companies are looking and most means practical involved talent. So that is the reason I'm telling. That is the reason I'm design this course also. Okay. Then come into Azure Databricks. What is Azure Databricks? The system work in a massive amount of data are growing at the exponential rate. You already know it. every day, because 2021 we are dealing with 100 million data, but in the 2022 it already will be 20 maybe 1,000 million. 2023 there will be more, because data generation from different services like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, everything we are generating this data. So that is the reason they are mentioned like systems work with a massive amount of data and are growing at an exponential rate. Big data is present anywhere, and it comes from various sources such as social media site, customer data, transactional data, and so on. This data holds a value only if the processed quickly and interactively. In this vlog, what is Azure Databricks? You will learn everything about the Azure Databricks. So, can we start? Databricks. The Databricks is a software company founded, the creator of the Apache Spark, I already mentioned. The company has also created famous software such as Data Lake, MLflow, Collize. These are the popular open source projects than span data engineering or data science or machine learning, anything. Okay. The Databricks develop web-based platform for working with the Spark, which provide automated cluster management and Python style notebook. Then Databricks in action. Why the Databricks is also important interview question. Why we can call it as Azure Databricks? The reason is that already they have already designed one contract to the Microsoft and Databricks company, and then this is kind of more compatible. Azure services are more compatible to Databricks, so that is the one reason. And they also provide the partnership kind of thing, because if you are using the Azure account, and same we are using an Databricks, Azure Databricks inside this also, the billing will combine. No need to pay extra to the Databricks. So that is the beauty of the Azure. Then I will tell you one more thing. Databricks don't have any storage kind of thing. We need an external storage. Like we once we process the data, we need to store somewhere, like any storage account or Gen2, blob storage, anything we need. Then only we can save the data. So the same thing, Azure Data Factory also same thing we need to know. So that is very important. Databricks is a data analytic platform optimized for Microsoft Azure Cloud services, and three environment for SQL, data science and engineering, Databricks machine learning. So this is also very important. The interviews also ask like the question: Databricks SQL, data science and engineering, machine learning. So I will tell you everything. Databricks SQL. The Databricks SQL provides a user-friendly platform. This helps to analysts who work on the SQL queries. Important. Okay. This is the portion will important. Give me 1 minute. I am just okay. So this is very important. This portion. Actually, there are three things already: Databricks SQL, data science and engineering, then machine learning. So here, SQL means Databricks SQL means SQL queries we need to write, and we can take the data. So queries in the Azure Data Lake create multiple visualization, because when you get the data, that's in the below, there are a lot of options to convert to Excel, to convert to CSV, TSV, and any other thing. Also the visualization. So that will be the beauty of the Databricks SQL. Then data science and engineering. This is the second one. The Databricks science and engineering provide an interactive working environment for the data engineer, data scientist, machine learning engineer. The two ways to send the data through the big data pipeline: ingest Azure through the Azure Data Factory in batches, streamline using the Apache Spark or Event Hub, IoT Hub. Already in the Azure Data Factory, maybe I am not sure I mentioned, there are two things. We are data like we can categorize into two things. First one will be the batch. The second one will be the streamline. Batch means it will be scheduled. We cannot wait for it coming as, and we already scheduled. For example, morning 7 a.m. Whatever the data yesterday loaded, we need to load into the current table. So that is kind of a scheduled one. Batch wise batch, it is data is coming. For example, in the bank account, every day bank the transaction, every day they are updating the records, right? For example, whatever the data they loaded there to the server, the bank server, to every day 7 p.m. When the bank is closing, they will upload the data into the server. So that means every day 7 p.m. will be the fixed one. Whatever the data they process at the same day, they load it at the 7 p.m. But if you comes into the YouTube, the live streaming, okay. So live streaming, okay. In the live streaming, we already connected on the Sunday, right? So that is kind of an interactive session because you don't know what will happen because what I am telling like that. And also I don't know what are the responses from you. But definitely we are transferring data at the same time with the low latency. So that is very important, right? Yes. So that is categorized into batch vices and stream vices. So that is the example that I will deeply cover on the next week, maybe. Then Databricks machine learning. Machine learning platform is you already know about whatever the machine learning experiment. We can do a lot of things like training, model training, take the data set. I got a project on the 2020. The project was predict the COVID-19 cases in an area using machine learning in the Azure database. So that was the one project I got. So I got the data set from the government WHO site every day. That was the time the COVID was high. I got the data from the internet and I took the data. Based on that one, I implemented the time series analysis. Different models I implemented and predicted which place it will be affected in the next 3 days or 4 days and or 1 week. Based on the previous analysis, then I compare. The model will predict if the particular place is 700 or 100 based on the some scenario because the spreading of virus has some kind of algorithm that also contain algorithm because 4 to 8 so that kind of particular that was the thing based on the time series also, okay. So that was the time I need to predict a number of bed was allocating in a particular item. So here I used machine learning was the workspace I used to implement that kind of thing. Model training, feature development, everything we can use, okay. So this is the first thing. Then pros and cons of the Azure data bricks. Okay, so the process larger. Pros means already we need to the large amount of we know large amount of data. Databricks is a part of Azure, the data cloud native, easy to move into the cloud. So that is the reason Databricks implement. Otherwise, we use the Spark. We need to connectors, everything. It need extra. We need to do. But if you are using the Databricks, what will it is easy to move the cloud. So that is the reason it is also costly. Then clusters are very easy to set up and configure. But in the Spark, if you choose the Spark itself, we need to choose the clusters and configure. It is really hard. So that is the reason it is implemented. It has an Azure Synapse Analytics connector as well as okay. That means Azure Synapse Analytics is another step of the Azure, another implementation like whatever available in the data factory plus a storage account called the Azure Synapse Analytics. So it has a connector also. Databricks has a connector also. Ability to connect to the Azure DB, integrate with the Azure directory, support multiple languages. That is very important. When you get this kind of question, definitely you need to tell like it will support Python, SQL, R, Scala, everything it will be support in the Databricks. Then cons me it does not have integrate with the Git or any other version tool. But whatever we have, for example, not Git, like we can use with the help of Azure DevOps and all, we can use that one. Then currently it is support HD Insight and not Azure Batch, and this is an exceptional case. But currently the companies are we can whatever the data we have, we can branching with the help of branching we can use and we can move from the lower environment to higher environment. Then Databricks SQL. Okay, Databricks SQL means we already mentioned like the quick query and fast result we can get from the Databricks itself. And one more thing I will tell you like when you implement large queries, join queries, aggregate function, Windows function, everything we can use. But whatever the table we implement, it will be available in the Databricks itself. Otherwise, we need to give the path. This is the path where we need to take the data. Otherwise, it will not work. So that is very important. That I will cover detail how these things are working and all. Okay, don't worry about it. Then Data management. Data management means whatever the data you need to arrange and present into the client or any other person. So that is called the data management. There are three part: visualization, graphical representation of, for example, bar chart. Any other charts are called as this portion, and dashboard creation, presentation of query visualization and commentary, alert notification. If any query field uh, reach at the threshold, these are the normal scenarios, right? These also available in the data management. Then coming into the computation and management, here we will know about the terms will help to run the SQL queries in the database. SQL query, a valid SQL statement, SQL endpoint, where we need to use, where we need to execute this query history also available. Then yeah, so that is the very important concept. Then authorization. Okay, authorization means authentication and authorization. Two concepts are there because each user has an individual access to the system. Or we can convert into a particular group and we can move into that system is called. These kind of things also available. Like when the grouping available, person by person we can provide the access. So these are called user and group. Then personal access token. So that like an opaque string is used to authenticate the REST API. Don't need to. And control, ACL. ACL means more security for particular users. Or for example, companies are dealing with confidential data. For example, if you're dealing with a client as a bank, or you are dealing with a confidential data, so only whatever the data access in a particular user, particular managers or developers will can see only that data. So that is the reason ACL, access control list, is maintaining. Based on that one only it will be available. So that is very important. That is the kind of a very secure platform is Databricks. Then coming to Databricks and data engineering. Normally, what will happen? We are creating the data frame, Spark and SQL data frame, and the streaming kind of data. This is integrated with the HDFS, Flume, Kafka, and real-time processing. ML link, machine learning kind of item we can implement, like classification. These are the models, okay? Classification, regression, clustering, collaboration filtering. So these kind of thing also we can implement. Then graphics. Graphs we can implement with the cognitive analytics of service. Spark Core API has a support to R, SQL, Python, Scala, Java, because this platform also very important because when they support of different languages. So if you know anything, you can write the code. But sometime what will happen? Client has a specific requirement. Client may tell us you need to write the code in Python, you need to write the code in SQL. So that kind you need to learn or you need to write the particular code in the that particular language itself. Then yeah, so that is very important in this case. Then workspace. Workspace, when you hear the name, you already know workspace is a place for accessing all data. Azure Database has said it organize object into folders, provide access to data object and computational resources. In this workspace contain dashboard, provide access to visualization, library. The packages are available to notebook, job running on the clusters. We can also add your own libraries, repos to versioning and syncing them to local Git repository. Experiment the collaboration of ML flow run and training in an ML model. Then coming to interface, the UI API command line. These are the interfaces help to UI. It provides the user-friendly interface workspace folders and their resources. REST API has a two versions, like an API when you data transferring from one place to another. So one connector to another. So that is mainly API. Definitely, I will give you some kind of example, then you will get more idea. Then data management comes into the data management. DBFS, Databricks file system, is also very important interview question. So we need to careful about when you're talking. This is an abstraction layer over blob store. It contains directories that contain files or more directory. Okay, this is kind of a whatever the data in the SQL in the storage account we have data, right? so that we can store like a table, or we can store whatever the table data in the Excel files. We can store it in the data file system, database file system, database. And what, for example, in the SQL DB, we already know there is a databases also. Database contain tables also. Inside the tables, we can create the views also. Same way, there's a database also. There is a collection of information that can manage and update. Database, same as the concept in the SQL Server. Table, the queries with Apache Spark, because when you calculate when you load one table, contain an organization is contain one employee table, contain employee ID, employee department, employee name, everything it will be available, right? So that is kind of a table format. When you load the table from SQL DB to database, there is also we can create. We need to pass a create statement, create the table. We need to create the table in the database also. Then we can try the query. Then meta store about this kind of thing. Yeah, that is about the data management. Then computation. Computation means clusters is a resources. For example, if you need to run data in the dev, maybe there are three or four levels are there. A dev environment is there, test QA environment is there, then prod environment is there. So we need to move or copy data 1 million data from Oracle DB to our database table. You need to create a cluster. Based on its free trial, the cluster will be less, available cluster configuration will be less. But if you upgrade, you can upgrade the different clusters you can create. But one thing definitely you need to know, when you're creating the cluster, based on the thing you choose, the cost will be high. So that is important. Cluster is a set of computation resources and configuration which can run notebook and job. Okay, these are two type. All purpose, we create all purpose clusters using UI, VLI, REST API. We can manually terminate or restart from all purpose cluster. Multiple users can share the cluster to for the collaboration. This is also important. Multiple users, one cluster we can share with the multiple users. So that time what will happen? I am in a team, I am using the cluster. Meantime, my teammate also using the same cluster. So that kind of worker nodes and driver nodes we will define there. So we can collaboration will help here. Then job. Job means an Azure database job scheduler create a job cluster when I run to job a new cluster and terminate the cluster when job is complete. We cannot restart the job cluster. Um, I already mentioned one table, employee table. I need to move into source system like Oracle DB to a database. That is called as one job. Once the copy is completed, that cluster will end simply. So that is the meaning. Then pool. Pool has a set of ready to use instance, reduce cluster start. It also reduce auto scaling time. It pool does not have enough resources. So these are kind of pool. Like a collaborative environment, there are a lot of things are available to the pool. Okay. So before going to here, this is kind of a machine learning, and because this already we mentioned job, workload, data engineering, data analytics workload, execution context. Then model management. This is also important. I think once I show one more thing, then it will be more helpful. Okay, otherwise I will complete this conclusion. Then we can go into a this Databricks overview chart. Okay, this is special for you. It will help you to what are the things you need to understand. Everything will help you. So Databricks machine learning. Why Databricks machine? When you ask this question in the interview, what will tell? The Databricks machine learning is a platform. It's a platform kind of thing which help to maintain and create trained model using large set of data. For example, you can mention whatever I discussed in the COVID-19 predict cases, or you can mention for example, sales data. In the coming sales data, based on the past sales record, we can predict whatever the sales data or sales will happen in the next 3 months. So these kind of thing, machine learning prediction we can use with the help of Databricks machine learning. Then with the Databricks machine learning, we can train models either manually or auto ML, track training parameters and models by using the experiment with the ML flow tracking, create feature tables and access them model training in interfaces, share, manage, and serve models by using the model registry, who can have access to all the capabilities of Databricks workspace, notebook, cluster. So these are also important. What is notebook? What is cluster? Job, data, data table, security, admin control, and many more. And ACL. Finally, ACL. These are also very important. Then coming to the conclusion, the Azure okay. So before conclusion, I will give you one more overview. Then you will get more helpful, right? Yes. Give me 1 minute. Okay. Okay. So I will share it again. Okay. So this is kind of a when you learn these things, data average, you save this one because this is kind of an ultimate model will help you when you learn lot of things. Okay, so that is the reason I am telling like you. So when you start your learning from the Azure data engineering, this chart will help you. So save it somewhere and learn whatever the things are available here. Everything you need to learn. So the first thing will be certification. Okay, the certification point of view, I will tell you what are the certifications available. As a data engineer, we need to take three certification. First one will be the data lake certification, then Databricks engineer, then professional. So these are the three certifications are available for us, and ML certification, Apache Spark certification, different certification also available. Okay, but we need these three. Okay, if you need, because I will guide you how this certification you need to crack. Every material I have, definitely I will share with you. So I in the detailed course I'm definitely mention how the you can crack, because these exam definitely I'm telling like this exam is not easy. We need to know Python, PySpark code and database concept, then only it will pass. So you need a training at least for here. Then so those are the three certifications we want. Then next one will be the workspace. Workspace means team access Databricks asset. Okay, workspace is the platform team can access all the data, all the asset they want. So that is the second thing. Then coming to here, accounts. Accounts means include multiple workspace. Okay, workspace means team can access the data, but an account contain multiple workspace. That means a collaborative environment. Then come to here, TBU. This is the unit of measurement, how the performance. If you want somebody is telling like the database performance is high, based on what the DBU unit, Databricks unit. So that is called DBU. So in the data warehouse, it will be DW unit, every unit, because performance is a measure, right? For the database also, there is kind of measurement. So that is called the Databricks unit. Then user. User means if Devi Krishna, I'm a user in a particular, I'm working in a project, I am the user in the particular project, I have a specific access and all. If I am working with confidential data, what will I will give you, they will add me in the ACLs also, means access control list also. Then whatever access I have, I can see the data in the prod and other lower environment, because that data, other data are very confidential. If they give it share to anyone, it will be affect the organization itself. So that is a confidential kind of data. So every user has their own access and permission. So that is called a user. Then service principle. Service principle for we can measure. I'm the Devi Krishna. How they will identify I can access a particular account or not. So that is based on the service principle, and we can use the service principle. Our register everything will be registered there. Based on that one, what will happen? The service principle will helpful to tokenize it. Then group. Group means different categories of groups are available. For example, one particular project, we have a one separate group or one table contain one organization table contain different group, and another places contain another different group. Based on some scenarios, we can use the group classification also for particular purpose. Then next one will the access control list, ACL. ACL I already mentioned, confidential data maintenance. Then next one will be the data science and engineering. So the data science and engineering is a platform, the ultimate space for collaborating data scientists, data engineers, data analysts, everywhere. Every people are collaborating this space. So that is called the data science and engineering, where we can create the tables and the repository not views, tables and metadata. Everything will be available in the data science and engineering. So the workspace, notebook. Notebook we can use the different notebook that I will tell you. Slowly changing dimension, using the slowly changing dimension, we can implement different types of notebook. Maybe STD1, STD2. Oh, that also very important. That also very important interview question. What is the difference between STD1 and STD2? STD1 means, for example, sales data. Sales data, or one supermarket, whatever the sales happen, that is called a sales data. We don't know whatever the sales happen in a per day, and there are a lot of data will generate, because the if it is in a that market in a busy street, lot of sales will happen there. But if the product contain is a we called as a small table, that I will explain, fact and a dim table. That table also called a small table. For example, a product, a book. Book is a small product and their price is small. It will not be changing anytime. So that we can categorize into dim. Fact means it was a sales data, that is sales table. That is an increasing data. So that also available. Based on that one, we are creating the notebook SCD1 or SCD2. Then dashboard, viewing the data. Library, if we need extra library to load the data, we can use it. Repository, saving. Okay, saving. For example, give kind of repository. Then experiment. We need to do some kind of experiment to implement and model. So these kind of things are available in the data science and engineering. Then next one will be the Databricks interfaces. Databricks interfaces, there is a REST API and a CLI. The REST API means it will be representational state transfer application programming interfaces. Why the REST transfer we are using? Before, for example, web API, REST API, securely we need to transfer from one databases to in the another database or another UI. So that is called as the REST API. So here also we can use the REST API to transfer data securely. Then CLI, command line interfaces. Next will be data management. Okay, I'm just giving here. Data management means DBSS, Databricks File System. That is also important. When you ask the interview question, what is DBFS? You need to mention Databricks File System. Then inside the Databricks File System or the data in the data management category, there's a database. Same as, because one scenario you will get, you need to load 1 million data which is stored in an SQL server, okay, Microsoft or SQL server in the local, and load the data into the Databricks, process it, or remove the null values in the Databricks and store the data into a storage account, Azure Data Lake storage. So that is the scenario, because when the client is storing the data in the on-premises system, Microsoft SQL server, they are getting lot of null or duplicate values. So they will think about they need to manage it. So that time what will happen? They implemented a separate thing. So that is called as the database. Whatever the data available, in the data SQL server, they are loaded that into a same way database, their creation, then inside the table creation, then manipulate the data using the code. They remove the null values, and what will happen? Duplicate removal. So that is we need in the database and a table. Then delta lake, meta store, save the data, and like kind of a interactive environment, visualization. So these are under the data management category. Then computation. Computation, it will be cluster. The cluster is very important. If you need to increase the performance of the notebook or the database, the only way increase the cluster and upgrade the cluster. Okay, cluster, pool, database runtime, workflows, workload, execution context. So these are the computational concepts under the computation management. Okay, then coming to SQL. SQL we can use. You already mentioned there's a three item is available. First one will be the Databricks SQL, Databricks Data Science and Engineering, Databricks Machine Learning. So here the SQL is mainly used for first one, Databricks SQL. So SQL REST API, dashboard, SQL queries running, everything will be possible in the Databricks SQL. Clear? Yes. Then the last one will be the machine learning. So the machine learning means experiment. We can implement the different machine learning models and feature store models, model registry. So these kind of thing available in a database. So I will just shorten this portion so you will get better clarity. What are the things I explained here, right? So these are the things we will be discussing in our complete course. So once you learn all these things, what will happen? You will be expert. So this way. So I'm sharing with you this one, so then you will get better when you want to know about in the future. When you're referring to your promotion and you are preparing for your interviews, this bar chart or group chart will help you. Okay. So then we can coming back to our conclusion. So the conclusion means Azure Databricks is easy, fast, collaborative, Apache Spark based analytic platform. Very important, it is an integrated with the cloud. So that is the highlight. It accelerates the innovation by bringing together data science, data engineering, and businesses. Help them make the collaboration that also will to collaborate with the different people, different items. Another step, make sure the process data analytics more productive, secure, scalable, and optimized for Azure. Not Azure, all the cloud platform, but it is more in the Azure. Then I will give you what are the things we will need to implement. So this is kind of a practical cases we need to do. First, if you do, you can use two ways. One, you can use from your cloud, for example, Azure itself. The second way is you can use directly the database community edition that I will tell you when you need to enroll that kind of thing. So it is costly, but when you preparing, when you're doing the practicals only, you need to enroll. Okay. Introduction to Azure Databricks. Create an Azure Databricks workspace using the Azure portal. Create Databricks community edition account if you want. Okay. Then workspace important. Workspace asset. Working with the workspace object in Databricks. Create and run Spark job in the Databricks. Azure Databricks architecture overview. DBFS. Database utilities. Then data utilities and Databricks in the data utility, file system, exist command, run command, widget utility, pass value notebook from one notebook to another. The parameterized SQL notebook using the widget, mount, Azure blocks or a DBFS in Azure Databricks, delete or unmount. This is also very important. Mount and unmount. Why the difference between mount? Check this one. This is also very important. Then update mount point, secret. We need to key value. There is a secret is there. Azure keyword. Securely transferring data. So that is the Azure keyword. We are creating an encrypted value to secure data. So that also in the here. Then install CLI. create Azure Key Vault and Gen 2 connection, Databricks Gen 2 connection, blob storage connection. We using the aggregate function, we can transfer the data, CSV loading. There are a lot of things we need to do. And STD1, STD2 type implementation, incremental load, decremental load, how to check duplicate check, null check, and how to visualize the data with the bar graph, line graph, anything. And If you want to machine learning, in the case of machine learning, how to predict, how to implement using the PySpark or Scala or Python, any language, how to query the data, how to convert one format to another format, and then how to use the different SQL query, aggregate function, rank, partition, everything, every application we need to do. So that is the reason we need some kind of time. So I think this is kind of real life application. When you regularly doing these kind of real life application, what will happen? You will become expert on the database also. Plus, if you take these three certifications, that also an extra advantage. Your resume will definitely shortlist. You will get 150. Maybe it will be purely depends on your performance and your current salary. You will get good hike. Then why you are thinking, right? So we need to export. We need to become world-class Azure data engineers. Are you ready for the challenge? Guys, if you're ready, you can comment when you upload the video in the YouTube also, because like a chatty, we can share the things with everyone, right? So it is very beneficial. So if you like this video, please give it thumbs or anything. You can comment in the YouTube also. It will really motivate me. Share or this is a bootcamp type of thing. Is the one interactive platform I can share with you the knowledge with you, whatever whoever really want to learn and upgrade and want to dream life in their career. Anyway, thank you guys. By tomorrow we will focus on the next lecture. Bye.